teach Drawing 3, Drawing 4, AP Drawing, and Art 1.
Wow, that's a lot of classes.
It is.
So in these classes, what do you do? What work do you provide with your students?
Well, what I do is I usually set up some kind of still life or present some kind of project idea, and then I write it on the board, I talk about it, I show some examples, and then I kind of get them started on it, show them materials, where they are, what they need to do, and then walk around and see how they're doing.
All right, yeah. So, sounds like a nice class. How much are the fees in this class?
They're $30.
$30 every
And then
class, or does it?
they're all $30 except for AP, which is $35.
Okay, so it's pretty cheap compared to other classes. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever, does this class ever affect student schedules? Like, do you ever have to draft people, for plus time?
Oh, for plus time? I mean, if people are failing, I'll usually draft them for plus time to try to get them in here because they're just not turning in their work or something. So, I'll do that. I don't usually have a problem. Some people just like to come hang out here for plus times too. So, because last year I had a club called Sketch Club, and but we haven't really done clubs this year. So some of those club people are showing up for plus time.
Okay, that's really cool. Oh, actually, my student. When you receive student fees, where do you spend the money?
Well, just to buy more materials, but it all goes into a general fund, and then we make a supply list and give it to the lead teacher, and then she submits the orders.
Oh, okay.
And the funds are kind of collected from year to year, so a lot of people don't pay their fees on time, but to graduate you have to pay all your fees. So I eventually get all that money, and my budget's like $1,400 a year.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. So when students participate in this class, what abilities do you think they can improve by being in this class?
Well, this class, like all my drawing classes, are really just kind of mostly observational drawing. So just kind of improving, really looking at what you're drawing instead of just thinking you're drawing what you're drawing. Because a lot of people just draw out of their head. They'll see, like we just did a skull. So they just draw what they think a skull looks like instead of looking at the skull that I have sitting in front of them. So I get them to try to look at things and draw them.
Would you, for the average Adobe student, would you recommend this class?
I mean, you would need to like art at least a little bit, maybe. Because there are people that take this class that I think are just being put in drawing classes over and over again from year to year, and they don't really have any interest in it. So I feel bad for those people that they can't find something interesting to do. But if you like drawing, then this is a class to be in. So.
All right, cool. And our final question is, do you believe this class is worth it? Yes.
Sure, I do.
Okay, yes.
I mean, why not? I mean, I think it's a good break in the day. Even if
it's a nice class.
it's not, it doesn't involve any studying or homework. So
Yeah. And how do you turn this thing off?
You press the red button at the top.
Okay, cool. Okay, whatever it is. Now we're not gonna stop. Okay. So what classes do you pay student fees for?
I pay student fees for Drawing 3.
And what do you do in drawing 3?
Mostly drawing.
Okay, in drawing 3, what skills and abilities have you developed in this?
Mostly observational, because you have to observe every single detail to make the drawing as realistic as possible, or as accurate as possible.
And with this class, does it affect your school schedule in any way? Like, do you get drafted for plus time? Do you have to come back after school or anything?
Not unless you're competing in any competitions, but no.
For the average Adobe student, would you recommend this class?
No, it does. This drawing class does take some advanced drawing skills. So if it's the average person, I don't know if. I mean, maybe.
And okay, very informational. And for our final question, do you believe this class is worth it?
I do believe it's worth it.
Okay, awesome. So, what classes do you pay student fees for?
I pay student fees for golf.
And
In golf, we go to practices at least 3 times a week. We study the course, we go over rules, and we make sure to know how to actually play the game.
When joining and participating in golf, what skills or abilities do you develop or improve?
The skills I develop is how to be a well-rounded person. It definitely teaches you how to be respectful, be patient, just like learn how to communicate better with your opponents and your teammates.
So, when you pick up this class, does it ever like affect your school schedule? Like you have to stay out of your school, spend less time?
No, it actually really benefits my schedule because I have it at the end of the school day. So from sixth period, I can just head straight to the course to go to practice. So it actually really fits in my schedule.
To the average Adobe student, would you recommend this class?
Yeah, of course.
And do you believe this class is worth it?
Absolutely.
Well, so for our first question, we want to ask what classes do you teach?
I teach the honors acting class, theater arts 3 and 4 honors. I also teach technical theater 1, 2, and 3. And some semesters I teach technical theater 4. Also production, which is the construction of all our scenery.
Very interesting. And in these classes, more specific to tech theater, what do you do?
Well, I teach them about the basics of theatrical construction, right? So all of the unit parts, when you look at the full set, for instance, Romeo and Juliet, it's pretty nice, big piece of equipment, right? But how do we assemble each of those parts? And we're not building it in the terms of how we would build a house or an office or a building. We're building something that's a facade, that's light and thin and inexpensive. And we've got to be able to build them quickly and take them down quickly.
For the tech theater classes, how much are the student fees?
Student fees are $35.
And when you get the student fees, what do you put them into?
Well, they go into our activity fund, as with most organizations and or fine arts organizations. And we use that money for classroom supplies, equipment, or tools. Sometimes I'm able to purchase something that's state-of-the-art so I can teach my students about those types of equipment, such as we got some new lighting software. So I'm able to introduce how that works and how it interacts with the theatrical lighting over at the theater.
Does this class ever affect student schedules? Like, do you ever have to pull people for plus time? Or
Continuously. Yeah. Well, for technical theater, it's difficult to get started and then clean up in the span of about 30 minutes, right? So plus time's not really beneficial. But it is beneficial for students who are trying to finish assignments or to finish the last minute touches on a project and things like that. So if we're doing plus time for a major production, such as Romeo and Juliet, then I wouldn't call them in for that. But I might ask other teachers if they can spare a student during my production class when we're actually doing something significant. Yeah, it really depends.
okay, very fun. So when students join a theater tech class, is there any like abilities that they can develop or even gain by being in it?
Sure. I mean, we learn some fundamentals of overall design. So what you're learning is not necessarily just technical theater. You're learning a set of life skills, such as how to construct something from a set of plans. So we teach you how to read a set of working drawings to build whatever it is that we need to construct. And you use those your entire life, whether it's IKEA furniture or you got to build a shed for the backyard or hang pictures on the wall, right? So these are, pretty much life skills. And then software such as computer-aided drafting. We use computer-aided drafting to determine what we're going to build ahead of time. And that gives you an idea of what materials you need to purchase, what tools you're going to need to construct that equipment, and things like that. Overall, it sets up a precedent for how you create something that's presentation worthy.
Okay. For the average Dolby student, would you recommend the tech theater classes?
Absolutely. If you're not, what's the word, a performance or extrovert person, and you still want to participate in theater, such as you want to work in the backstage area, you want to work in design, such as lighting elements or audio, this is an excellent place for you. We teach you some of the fundamentals of audio engineering, which applies to a countless number of fields. Same thing for other areas of scenic art, such as costume construction, which applies to fashion, things like that. And then, of course, aspects of art. So we incorporate different textures and styles, and sometimes we have to paint something that is very specific, such as, I don't know, a rough Van Gogh or I'm trying to think of it. I can't think of the artist just now, but oftentimes we have to imitate other artists.
And for our final question, do you believe this class is worth it?
Absolutely. The skills that you take away from this class are, as I said, these are things you can apply to the rest of your lives. So there's a lot to be gained here.